I love Kimba. You don't understand. I love Kimba.
We love you, Kimba!
Hey, Kimba.
Hello, me Kimba, radio broadcast episode 23. It goes like that. Once upon a time, from 1995 to 1999, I hosted Zeta Goes Local, which was 1 hour and eventually 2 hours of local music on a Sunday night. And I wasn't really specific to South Florida. If you had something that you sent me and it was of air quality, I would play it on this show because I figured, why not? Give a shot, give a helping hand, maybe take a band up to the next level. Why not help the entire state, the entire peninsula? So a South Florida band in the early 90s went by the name of Collapsing Lungs, and you will hear who formed it and their history because I have a special guest from the band that will be on momentarily. They were signed, and then eventually they broke up, and some members then created L.U.N.G.S as an acronym, allegedly standing for Losers Usually Never Get Signed. I'm going to ask my special guest if that's true, because he was part of Collapsing Lungs, he was part of L.U.N.G.S, and he's part of what's happening now. But before we get to that, I would love to play this interview, a snippet of this interview that I did with L.U.N.G.S, the acronym, February 18th, 1996.
It's the lungs. The lungs are
What's up, North Lauderdale?
There's a lot of lungs. And North Miami and all parts in between. Better Class of Losers is the name of their brand new CD. We got Crime and Big B sitting right in front of me alongside the rest of the Lungs. You want to introduce yourselves?
Introduce me. I'm the biggest to be.
Crime.
Right next to me, Chris Nicholas, our horrorcore, disgusting keyboard player.
Our ugly keyboardist Embryo's right behind me.
What up, what up?
Lloyd Holley, the Black Fury. Mark Carpenter.
And there you
Man
have it.
on the
That
bass,
is
and
Lungs.
Michael
And
McDermott.
Michael McDermott. How could I
McDermott
forget
the
that
Frogs.
nose?
And so the
Covered
Better Class of
McDermott.
Losers is going to be out February 27th.
February 27th, worldwide.
And you're going to be here signing autographs
At
and
Peaches.
signing
Right,
Peaches, 1500 Sunrise Boulevard. So you got something coming up here where you're going to be at the Jammies.
right.
Now you're playing March 2nd, is that correct?
Yeah, and
We might do two nights.
But we're giving out a little award. Two good-looking guys, and I'll be giving out an award.
So if you be up in Orlando, you can see and hear the Lungs and see their presentation skills. Why don't you tell us, Crime and Big B? They're going to share. We're going to do tag team storytelling, how the
It's
album
story
came to
time
be.
How'd it
Well,
come to
last
be?
January, we got together. After many people know, they used to be Collapsing Lungs, and
Hooked up with Mark
practiced,
Noir
hooked
from
up
BMG.
with Pavement Music, Zoo Entertainment, BMG. That was about 5.5 months ago, and just took it from there. And the label's been great.
The label's
and,
been behind us, and everything's been going running smooth. And
We did our album up in Charlotte, North Carolina. Stephen Hagler,
producer.
crazy wild-haired dude. We got signed less than a year, about 8 months. My girl
Aw.
Kimba loves that.
We were just talking about the fact that so far, they've restrained themselves quite nicely so far in the past 20 minutes.
We're trying real hard. We can't use profane words.
That's it.
We're trying.
We can do so during the songs and the commercials. You can say whatever you want.
Oh, if you only heard what we say during the commercials.
Yeah, whole South Florida scene supports Lungs and Lungs Tribe.
Everyone
Everybody.
that supports us.
Kimba.
Glad to do it.
Kimba's the only one that supports
All right
us.
then. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Through our
Everyone
technical-
supporting Lungs out there. Thank you.
Buy the CD. I need to eat. All of us need to eat.
Thanks again for being here.
Thanks
It
for
was a
having us.
pleasure
Thanks a lot,
having you.
Kimba.
The Lungs.
We out.
Yeah, take it easy.
That was L.U.N.G.S from February 18th, 1996. And I got to be at that Jammies Award ceremony in Orlando. L.U.N.G.S kind of went their separate ways, and members of both incarnations did do a reunion show. We're going to chat about that. And just this month, Collapsing Lungs has released a song and a video. And to chat about that and so much more, member of Collapsing Lungs and L.U.N.G.S, Chris Nicholas.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
You moved out to L.A., but I know you moved back to South Florida because remember, we ran into each other
Yes.
at, of all things,
Hall
a Hall & Oates show.
And I got blasted on Facebook because I guess the Pixies were the same night.
No, 'cause I went to that.
Someone-
No, they did a secret show
Oh.
the night before, and
Right.
I went to that. So
Because I saw the Pixies a few times, so it's like I've never seen Hall & Oates. And Train opened.
Same.
I don't know if you knew this, but my dog that passed away a few years ago was the dog from the Train video.
I did not know that.
Hey Soul Sister.
Oh, sure.
So if you watch the video, me and my dog are in it. My friend produced the video. And the manager got us tickets and passes and everything. Facebook was like, who are you? You're at Hall & Oates and not the Pixies? I think it was Bill Howard.
Oh, of course it was Bill Howard. Bill,
I love Bill.
I refer to him as a stir.
He's a walking landmark of South Florida.
Lovingly. So soon after that, though, I saw you posted that you moved out to LA, and I was like, was it something I said?
You know, we were in South Florida for a year and a day. We gave South Florida a chance, and it was just...
When did you first move out to LA?
1999. And it was a very weird moving because after the bands broke up, I got a job at a production company in Boca. And I was the editor. I learned how to edit, so I was the editor. And from editing and reading Marilyn Manson's autobiography, and I was like, oh, this would make an awesome movie. Like, he should make a movie out of this. And I was good friends with Brian Manson back then. So I reached out to him and I was like, you should make a movie. And he was like, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, I can make a cool documentary. I'm working at a production company now. And he was like, yeah, go for it. So I talked to my boss, and my boss knew them as a local band. He didn't realize that when Antichrist Superstar came out, it was like in the top 10 of Billboard. His book was like a #1 Times bestseller. Right. So he was like, yeah, you have access to all the equipment. If you could do it, do it. So I did it. And then his company was kind of crumbling. So he came on a Monday, he brings me in the office. He's like, listen, and this is when the documentary's done and we're trying to get distributors and whatnot. I'm shutting the doors down on Friday and I'm moving back to LA. I think you should come with me. And meanwhile, I have family, I have roommates, I have a great life in South Florida. And I'm like, I am not handing this documentary that I did everything on, like research, produce, edit, direct, everything, to this guy. And I'm going to hope he's going to send me checks or whatever. So I literally moved to LA in a week's notice.
You moved to LA just to make sure you could finish this. There's a couple things about that. You were the producer, the director, like you said, the everything for Demystifying the Devil, an unauthorized biography on Marilyn Manson. Although from what you said, he sort of authorized it.
Well,
I appear.
Right, which is awesome. Thing is, you appear, and I asked Zeta to help us promote it, and they wouldn't. And then meanwhile, I asked the station that was in Palm Beach, whatever they were called back then, and they were so fired up. I sent them a copy, and they're like, yeah, we can't promote this because in the first 5 seconds, you have Zeta on here.
Oops.
Right?
That got me, which it's no longer there, but it got me my IMDb or...
Oh, it's awesome. Oh.
But also because of that, I was 2 or 3 degrees away from Kevin Bacon's, degrees of separation, awesome. All because of that. Now, the downside is now I've since hearing things from women about a couple of guys in the band. I had no idea.
All right.
To see the band at Squeeze and used to see one of the girls with her boyfriend at the time. And it's just to hear that stuff now, it just makes me really sad.
Yeah, it's sad. I mean,
it's sad. Manson went on to have some great success, but there was a lot of shrapnel.
Oh yeah. Back then, I remember Manson, I guess, showcased for like every label, and they were turned down by everybody. And then at the same time, it was kind of like a local rivalry. Like we were showcasing for lots of labels, and it was who's going to get signed first. And then Trent Reznor basically took Manson under his wing. And I remember like people would say, oh, they're on Nothing Records. They're going to be nothing. You guys are going to be so huge. And I remember doing our video, the Cracker Jack video at the Edge back then. And the woman that was like the Atlantic Records music video person, she was like, I was just in Atlanta last week with this band Collective Soul, and they were so boring. Like, you guys are going to be so huge. Oh my God. And it's just like, yeah, right.
And it was fascinating as being host of the local show for as long as I was, and just going out and seeing all the bands and watching. I mean, during the time that Collapsing Lungs and Lungs had a record deal, you also had, forget the name, Puya, Endo. And there was just a lot of bands at that time that were getting interest. Yeah. Everybody to me was so talented in their own respective ways. And it was fascinating and sad to watch it when it would label interest in.
Story. I went to,
who doesn't like a good Puya story?
Before I moved to LA, I went out there for work at an El Pollo Loco, like in the heart of Hollywood. And we're sitting there, and I look over, and I see I don't know if it was the bassist or the guitarist, but he had the blonde hair. And I'm like, are you in Puya? And the guy got so happy. He was like, Yes, I am.
And I happen to love their song Puya. And it was also the name of the band and the album. So I always had so much fun on the
Oh, they were
local show
great.
saying, here's Puya from Puya by Puya. Tell us like how you came together initially as Collapsing Lungs.
Brian Tatunik, the singer of Collapsing Lungs, he was best friends back in like maybe 89-ish with Brian Warner, Marilyn Manson. And Brian wanted to put his own band together, Collapsing Lungs, but Manson was already kind of putting Marilyn Manson and the Spooky Kids together.
Kids, yeah.
So he asked Brian to be in the band. So Brian and the original keyboardist, Perry from Collapsing Lungs, were in the very first version of Marilyn Manson and the Spooky Kids. Brian's name was Olivia Newton-Bundy, and Perry's name was Zsa Speck.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess they were together probably for a few months. They did 2 shows with them. And then Brian Tatunik, I think just he wanted to do his own thing. So
one Brian's enough.
Right. Brian Tatunik and Perry left and they started Collapsing Lungs.
Okay.
And I guess Collapsing Lungs version 1.0 had Brian Perry, this guy Barry, who also did keyboards, Pete Gross, Kenny was a bass player, and then Mike was like an electronic stand-up percussion guy. So they were together for, I guess, a little while. And I was going to BCC. It was 1990. I was 19, I think. And I had long burgundy hair. My girlfriend at the time was in a class with Daryl Scott, who wound up managing the band, his girlfriend. So I would always we'd wait together for our girlfriends to come out. We kind of became friends. And then one day I was standing waiting for a class to start, and I had a B-side magazine, which is like an old music rag, and it had Al Jorgensen from Ministry on the cover. And Brian Tatunik walks up, and Daryl's like, "Oh, Brian, this is my friend Chris. This is Brian." And Brian sees the magazine, and he's like, "Can I borrow that? Can I meet you here in an hour, and I'll give it back to you?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." So we met back up, and we started talking, and we had so much in common musically, and I don't know about politically back. We didn't talk probably the first conversation, but we had so much in common that Brian Tatunik was like, "Well, come to my car. I'm in a local band. I'll give you a tape, and I think you would dig it and whatnot." So our friendship developed over time, and I was never a musician. I was just into cool music and whatnot. So after a while, Brian is like, "I want to fire my keyboardist, and I want you to join my band." And I was like, "I don't play keyboard. Like, what are you talking about?" He's
That's
like,
great, except for one thing.
He's like, no, you don't understand. You don't need to play. I don't want a piano player. I want someone, it's a sampler. So you could sample beats and sounds and voices, and you could play patterns, but not like, and I had a girlfriend at the time. I had a job. I was going to college, and I was just like, thanks, but I really don't have time for this and whatever. So we stayed friends, and again, I was only 19, so they would have shows, and he would sneak me in, and he's like, "Look, it's not working out. You will totally fit. You look cool. You're into everything we're into. I know it'll work. Join my band." And your friend Frank, you think he'd want to join too? And I'm like, "What do you want him to do?" He just looks like he'd be a cool stand-up percussion player. Talked to Frank, and he's like, "Yeah, let's do it. If it's cool, it's cool. If it sucks, we'll quit." So we both joined. Our first couple rehearsals, we didn't have equipment. But we would show up to this dingy warehouse, like off of Dixie Highway near Atlantic Boulevard. And it was so hot and humid and disgusting. And we walk in, and Kenny, the bass player, who looked like a total rock star, comes up to me. He's like, "What's up, bro? Where's your gear?" And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I don't have any." And he's like, "Oh, what did you used to have?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I don't." And he looks at Brian, and he's like, "What are you doing to us?" And Brian's like, "Don't worry, they're going to work." First 2 rehearsals, we're literally sitting on the floor watching them.
Fantastic.
I don't think there was Craigslist back then, but we've somehow found a used keyboard sampler that I bought and learned how to use. And it was so old school that I would have to load discs in. So once we were on stage and performing, or even in practices, I would have to do my parts and then eject it and put another disc in and hopefully load it in time for my next part. I mean, Brian definitely had a vision.
You took the words right out of my mouth. That's what I was going to say. He definitely saw something.
Kyle also, Embryo.
Embryo.
Kyle and I would sample hip-hop beats, and we would distort them. They would sound like these crunchy, distorted, industrially kind of beats. And I think by us joining, we changed the sound of the band. We were getting more popular. I mean, we played a lot of shows all the time. and I used to make all the flyers. And Daryl, our manager, got a job at Sony Records in New York. So he would be able to get us bigger shows. And our first real big show was the Divine Playground. One stage was House of Pain, Rage Against the Machine, and this band called Wool from DC. And then the electronic stage was Meat Beat Manifesto, 808 State, and Utah Saints. And somehow Cellar Door, they were like the local promoter, they wanted a local band to do it. So they asked us. We did that show. It just seemed like every time a national band came to town, they were like, do you guys want to do the Smashing Pumpkins Florida tour? Do you guys want to do Infectious Grooves, Thrill Kill Cult, Machines of Loving? Like, we opened for everybody. It seemed
Now,
like.
and there's one show you recently posted about it, because I remembered the incident. Skate Nigs, August 17th of 93 at the Edge. And it was M. Bougallard, Collapsing Lungs, Skate Nigs. And that's when one of the guys from the headlining band peed in the beer barrel.
Yeah, good story. Yeah, for sure.
So wrong. One of us was reaching in and somebody was yelling, no!
Right. And that was the beer for everybody, all the bands and all the backstage.
Yeah, it was in this
people.
big...
So it's like, why would you do that? It was so weird. I've reconnected with Phil, the singer. He's a super, super cool guy. Who knows what they were on at the time.
I just want to tell Phil he totally harshed my beer gig. Totally harshed it.
He ruined it for everybody.
He totally did. All of that happens. You start getting a lot of interest. And then how do you finally get signed and get the record deal? And
Daryl seemed like every show was almost a showcase. The three labels that wanted us, it was Roadrunner, Atlantic, and the owners of the Edge. They wanted to start their own record company, and they wanted us to be their first signing. But I remember that their contract that they gave our lawyer was so like 1980s weird. You know, Atlantic was like, Atlantic, my God, it's like one of the biggest labels. And
sure.
Charlton Ford was like the local rep that found us and brought us to Jason Flum, who was the one that approved our signing. We were in his office and he's like, you guys have created a phenomenon in South Florida. We're going to take this to an international level. You guys are going to be in a Lollapalooza. Like, we're going to make you guys so huge. Don't even worry. You guys are amazing.
Yeah, you get signed.
We get signed. Then we did the video for Cracker Jack.
Mm-hmm.
That was a live performance. And then, this is a great story. All right. I'm so going to out Embryo on this.
Oh, right, I love Embryo.
That's the best. The director of the music video, Bill Ward, did a lot of cool videos back then. He was like, we'll do the live footage at the concert. So there was a couple scenes we did in South Florida. My mom's was in the video. Frank's dad was in the video. Big B, who wasn't in the band, his little brother was in the video. We do it at Kyle's house, Embryo's house. And Kyle's house was very lived in, old religious things on the wall. So we thought it would be cool. So Daryl tells Kyle, like, look, don't clean your house. We want it to look lived in, but definitely pick up. We don't want it, there's going to be the band, some of the parents are coming, the label, the video crew. So we show up, touring the house to figure out where we're going to do stuff. And we're in the living room and we see a pair of tidy whitey underwear with skid marks. It's just like on the floor. Everyone was so disgusted.
And the thing is, though, if somebody has their house that way, which people do, some people are super clean, some, it's all different levels. When you tell them to tidy up, probably thought he did.
We did the video. I think we only got one spinning on MTV. Like the night Headbangers Ball was canceled. And when it came time to tour, we couldn't get on a tour. Atlantic never really, I guess, helped us. So what we did is we did our own 6-week tour.
And this is around 90...
Summer of 94.
What happens then, the signing and the ascension, however slow it may be,
right.
What makes that screech to a halt and what makes the band just go their separate ways?
It was a collective band, but it was always kind of Brian's band. And I wish I brought a video camera. Because, the stuff that we saw, I could have 5th week of our 6-week tour, Brian and Pete, our guitar player, got into a fist fight. And basically it was like, screw you, you're out of the band. Screw you, I quit. So Pete and Goldbach left. We had to cancel our last week of the tour. We came home. Atlantic didn't drop us. They were cool. They were like, do your thing. So we found 2 new members. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't working out for different reasons. The band parted ways with Brian and then became L.U.N.G.S. Like our manager was like, don't worry, the label, it'll be better. The label won't do anything. As soon as we parted with Brian, Atlantic dropped.
It's hard enough to have a relationship with a significant other. Can you imagine 5, 6 other people that you have to try to get along with and then be in close quarters on the road?
We not only shared hotel rooms, but we shared beds. I mean, we were like,
Yeah, you had exactly.
there were so many of us on tour. There was 7 in the band. I mean, it was like crazy.
So many bands never even get the record deal, and then you've
Right.
got the bands like you who get the record deal, but then other things start going in. So you get L.U.N.G.S together, and now L.U.N.G.S gets a deal.
Like people think you get signed and it's like you're rich and you're
Boom.
signed,
Yeah.
and it's like you're just a new level of now being a nothing. So yeah, so that's why the L.U.N.G.S album, when we released the album, we called it Better Class of Losers.
And I talked about it. Losers usually never get signed.
Yeah.
Joke
Well, we
that
thought
is-
of a bunch of different ones. Lifting Up, Naughty Girl Skirts. Literally didn't skip a beat. We Brian was out, and then Big B, our childhood friend Darren Benny, we were so close. He would come to all the L.U.N.G.S rehearsals. Big B would pick up the microphone and just kind of rap to it because he loved hip hop. So he would rap, and oh, that's really cool. When Brian was out, Frank was like a percussion player, but he would do vocals with Brian on certain songs. So Frank stepped up to be the lead singer, and we asked Big B, do you want to be, the second vocalist? L.U.N.G.S became less industrial and more hardcore rap type style.
Frank is also known as Crime,
Mhm.
just for anybody
Right.
who knows the band, but maybe it was like Frank. Who's the Frank character?
We shopped around. We got a new deal with a smaller label. And we thought, let's do that because a smaller label will be able to nurture us and, help us more. But it seemed like the album came out. We never did a video. The only tour that we got offered was L.A.G.U.N.S, which we should have taken, but we were snobs and like, L.A.G.U.N.S, they're like 80s metal and we're like, whatever we are. But it got to a point where me, Big B, and Mark, we kind of put it out there where we're like, this isn't going anywhere. We tried. So the 3 of us quit. And that's where my friend who owned a production company was like, no, work for me. I'll teach you how to edit. You'll love it, blah, blah, blah. So he basically handed me a career that I've run with. And my life is so weird. It's like, hey, you want to be in a band? You don't know how to do anything. Hey, you want to be an editor? You don't know how to do anything. Like,
Yeah, how does that
opportunity
work?
knocks. I don't know. But
How does that work? I guess you've all stayed in touch.
Somewhat, yeah. We still Facebook. I mean, some of us talk, some of us don't. But no one's got grudges or anything. Everyone's like, going on with their lives.
Right.
So I moved out to LA in '99. And Christmas 2004, we should do a reunion show. I mean, if 10 people show up, who cares? It'll be fun, whatever. So I reached out to everybody pretty much. So I organized everybody to do it. And we only had 2 rehearsals, and not everyone was at each rehearsal. So we pulled off a full show and I don't know how we did it, but we played at the Culture Room. I think it was the day after Christmas on 2004, and it was sold out, packed. And we did L.U.N.G songs and Collapsing L.U.N.G songs. So it was really cool. That's
And
it.
then-
It was just fun.
So that's 2004. And now
Right.
you fast forward to 2020. 16 years after
Yeah.
the reunion show. Who had the light bulb moment?
So COVID happens. Nobody really stepped up. No political bands kind of, I don't know, everyone was silent. Everyone was just, nobody came forward. So Brian Tunick reached out to me and was like, we should get the band back together again. And I was like, well, if you can get everyone to do it, I'll throw my hat in and we'll do something. He reached out to, the core members and got everyone interested. And the first song we did was a song about, we wanted it to be political, Cult 45, which is about Trump and more of his conspiracy crazier followers.
It's very subtle. and that's Cult 45, not Cult.
Probably marketing wise, it probably shouldn't have been our first song because we've already alienated half our possible fan base right off the
I
bat.
saw some responses from people.
At first it was just going to be kind of like, let's just do it for fun, one song. And it's still, we have a bunch of other songs that we're working on. There's one that's going to I'm going to do another video for it. It'll be released soon. See what happens type of thing. Share a van and share beds again.
Well, at least, good news is you'll have a mask on. So
Right.
anyone watching this or listening can understand I don't think there'll be any doubt what your feeling is.
Well, my people are so smart. And you know what else they say about my people? The polls. They say, I have the most loyal people. Did you ever see that? Where I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody and I wouldn't lose any voters, okay? It's like incredible.
No need for knowledge. Forget the books. Blinded by money. Already took. Rewrite the story to fit the plan. False information. Lay on the because he loves us. Point the finger, now pick on them. Hold your Bible, but full of sin. Discredit science, discredit facts. Hate and fear, egomaniac.
So what? He wants to grab pussy. I want to grab pussy. I wish I could grab as much pussy as he can.
Let you God, run your knees. Twist the truth, spread the disease. Poison the mind, poison the soul. Point the finger, and off they go.
Elected by God to be the President of the United States.
And we will make America great again.
I see things inside my head. I can't see straight. I see red.
I believe Trump is elected by God to be the President of the United States.
But this man, President Trump, we love him. I mean, it is an honest, heartfelt, because he loves us.
I have such respect for women. I cherish women.
The best is yet to come.
I went to an Ivy League school. I'm very highly educated. I know words. I have the best words.
I asked a lot of women here, and half of them would love to have their pussy snatched by Trump.
Hey, I'm president. Can you believe it, right?
Nobody knows the system better than me.
I am the chosen one. I'm wonderful.
I think I'm much more humble than you would understand.
I'm really rich.
So that was Cult 45. You can find that on the Collapsing Lungs Facebook. Watch it again and show all your friends. Write nasty things to them.
Please.
Whatever the case may be.
I expected way more hate. We got some hate, but I really expected way more hate for it.
And YouTube it's on as well. The YouTube
It's on
channel.
the website. It's on collapsinglungs.net. It's on YouTube, and it's on the Collapsing Lungs Facebook page. I used to be so political. Like, I used to be all into it, and I've just gotten to the point where I really feel like every 4 years it's just theater. I don't like or trust the establishment of either party. I feel like they're just holding on to their power, and they won't relinquish it to the new crop of people.
I think that new crop of people is creeping. The crop is creeping. What is it? 60 million people have voted already, days before election days. So I think
it's going to be worse than Gore and Bush, probably.
Yeah.
So.
In all of your film and your editing, put out a movie, Role Reversal.
Well, it's not done.
Well, there's clips of it on your YouTube channel.
Yeah. Have you become emotionally strong over the age?
Oh yes, definitely. I definitely became emotionally stronger.
Explain why.
To go through what I've been through, you have to be. I would be in a mental institution if I wasn't.
Talk to your parents. Find out what are their wishes, and you should talk to your loved ones as well, and they should know your wishes.
You gonna be okay?
I'm trying.
Yeah, why?
Because I'm a warrior.
You are really wonderful, Chris. I love you.
When my mom got real sick and couldn't live alone anymore, it was like, do I put her in a facility or do I take her in with me? And I was like, she was always there for me and was the most amazing mom. So I'm like, I'm not going to just put her in a facility unless one day I have to. So I moved her in with me, and then she declined. So I wasn't able to take a real job. So I would work out of my house and take small projects and take care of her. She was a full-time job. Again, from being the video person, I filmed everything. ER trips, procedures, good times, bad times. And I just had and then I sat her down and interviewed her, asked her every question I ever wanted to know about her life. Like, what's your favorite number? What's your favorite color? What's your favorite food? Tell me about the first time you kissed somebody. Do you remember when I was born? Like, everything. So I have so much footage that after she passed, I was like, I should do a documentary, because there's so many people out there that are either about to go through it, going through it, or already went through it. I feel like me being so close to the project, I might want to include something because of a personal or emotional tie-in. But when you watch the film, it doesn't really deserve to be in the film because it doesn't move the story along.
Episode 22 was in honor of my dad because it would have been his 85th birthday. He used to be a big part of the show. I have a lot of pictures of him and I have a lot of audio from his phone calls on the air with me, but I don't have what you were talking about. And I would give anything for that because you don't think about that kind of stuff. Favorite color, or like he was in the Navy and after he passed, I got all of his Navy books and pictures. And I'm like, there's an entire life lived here that I know very, very little about. And if everyone, at the very least, especially with technology, with a phone now, just sat down and videoed.
I've offered it so many times on social media because like I started my own business and one of the services is called Legacy Videos. If you have a parent or a grandparent and you're like, they're getting older, we should sit them down and like preserve the family history.
Maybe because a lot of people, if they haven't experienced it, they don't understand the value of it. It's a brilliant idea. Just to be clear, I'm not referring, and I don't think you are either. You don't wait till they're sick while they're still spry and spunky, and it's priceless. You're right. It's absolutely priceless.
Every Mother's Day, every my mom's birthday, I watch videos. Time definitely heals. You know, at first, like she was such an important part of my life that it was just even my dog Mercy. Like, it was the first dog I ever had to put down.
Yeah, I remember that too. But your other dog,
the new guy, Buddha.
Oh my God, that face!
It's awesome. And we found him in Miami. This is a good story. I know.
That's like one of the dogs that could win the ugliest dog, but he's so awesome. Ugly, he's cute.
Bottom teeth is amazing.
Do tell.
Christmas Day, we're living in Florida, and my wife Michelle's parents are buried at this cemetery off of 136th in Miami somewhere. So we go to visit her parents' cemetery, and then we get in the car and we're driving away, and this little dog runs past our car. We almost hit it. You know, this is only like maybe, I don't know how many months or whatever after Mercy passed. We were never thinking about getting another dog. We already had 2 other ones. We stopped the car and we're like, come here, you know, come here. And the dog runs and jumps into my arms. And he didn't have a name tag. I Google animal shelters near us. We find the closest one. We go there. And they're like, sorry, we're not taking in any more dogs today. We'll see if he's microchipped. And he wasn't microchipped. And we're like, well, I guess we'll take him home and give him a shower. They're like, you can bring him back tomorrow. Well, you're in Miami. We're in Broward. I put ads on Craigslist, Lost Dog, Facebook, a couple other things.
I remember when you posted that you found that dog.
Nobody claimed him. And my wife, we're not getting another dog. Like, find the dog a home. You know,
famous last words.
We're never going to find a place in LA that's going to accept 3 dogs. Obviously, he grew on her, and I think it was New Year's Day that she finally caved in and was like, all right, you know, she fell in love with him, and he's amazing. I mean,
you talk about being sent a Christmas gift, though.
Right, from her parents? I mean, that's like a sign, if not ever a sign.
I think Mercy might have had a little play in that, too.
Right, yeah. Well, I know I speak for so many people. Thank you so much for all that you did back then, because you helped so many bands. I mean...
It was my pleasure, and I just feel like a little cog. One of the mechanisms further it, and for me, it was a complete joy to watch bands get signed and being sold out. I'm like a proud mama. I can't thank you enough for taking the time to join me and talk about the old stuff and the new stuff.
Thank you so much. This is a great time. Great to talk with you. Great to see you.
Okay, bye. Chris Nicholas, always a pleasure. Really, really good guy. Good luck to us all. Vote this Tuesday. Thank you for being one of Kimba's herd. And thank you for listening to me, Kimba, Radio Broadcast, episode 23. And it goes like that, like that, like that.
This Kimba's on the radio.